Greetings. I'm going to try very hard to see if I can help you with some of the things that will make the rest of this course go a little smoother. I think you're doing great so far, but let me just see if I can make it a little bit easier. This assignment, okay, and I find it so important that you read this carefully before you go ahead and start writing, okay? Now, it says here that 1 and 2 are related, both of these assignments. So if you'll let me drag my over here. All right, so we're looking down here. I can't make it go any further. Give me a second. Sorry. Oh, this is where I changed that, don't I? All right. So here, if I can get this up a bit, it's not going to let me do that. But if I could show you, you go over here to week 4 summary. It's right down here. 4 assignment 1 and 4 assignment 2 are related. That's what that's saying. Okay, so pay attention to that. It tells you to go to the Webliography. I think you all know where that is now. It's right up here, right? Webliography. Click on that, and you'll have all kinds of places here you can go to find art. Don't take the first one. Just go through, click on any of these. You can see they're live links, and they will bring up an image. Will also help you by taking you to the site where these are located, and you'll get some more information. Now, don't do any research on all this now. The first part just wants you, and I'll get you back to the first part over here. The first part just wants you to write about what you think using your analytical powers. Now that you're getting so good with that, you're supposed to go through and just to be proper on this, let's see if I can get this down so you can see it. Make sure you look at this rubric, scholarly source, that's going to Webliography or to any museum source pretty much, and give us a link, you see, and it's going to say here you get 8 points for doing all of this, and I will give you 8 points if you do all this. But when it says provide an image, be sure you give me an image. If you can't get it to embed, then attach it. And then when it says identify the information and link it to a web page, do that as well. Down here, describe the subject and media in terms of, look at that, elements of art and principles of design. You know what? Did I not tell you that at the beginning? We're going to be using these terms over and over and over. Promise you that. So let's be sure we nail them this time. And I think most of you are using them. You're still not real sure how. Now, just to be helpful, here's a link here that will help you a little bit. But to be perfectly frank, I'm going to be going by my terms, and I'm going to be going by certain flags when I read your things and give you the credit you need. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. What they want you to do here, though, is describe it. You've chosen the work, you've embedded it, you've described it, and then you're going to tell us how you're reacting to the content. Does this make you think, wow, what a sad day, or what a beautiful idea, or how pretty this woman was, or how sad that this horse died? You know, I don't know what picture you're going to take, but describe it. What does it mean, do you think? What do you think the artist is saying to you here? And then down here, respond to the work of 2 peers. That's 2. That means you go back, read what some of your classmates are writing, and then respond to that. And no one expects you to be an art critic or even a literary master. All we want you to do is to tell us, or to tell your classmate, you know, I really understand what you're saying here, or maybe, gee, I'm a little confused by the way you put it, but this is a hard piece for me to understand. Whatever you think, give them some response. Read what they say. That's so important too, because it's like sitting in class and listening to your classmates over and over. All right, and then of course you always want to proofread. Now, a couple of you have, I think, gotten past this, but a couple of you all have lost some of your posts. For some reason, the internet goes out. You get away for a minute. You know, the dog eats your, I don't know, your mouse cord, whatever. And you have some problem with like recovering that material. What I suggest you do is go into some kind of text edit program that you might have on your computer, or even Windows, if write it out there, and then you can copy and paste it into here. That way you can go back and you can also check it for spell check and those kind of things. I think that's a great plan to do. Then if you lose it for some stupid reason, you can always copy it, paste it, there it is. Okay, so that's my take on that. All right, let's get into a little bit on the analysis, because I think that's hanging you up a bit too. I don't want to make this too long. I did not, even though I told you to do it, I did not go to the Webliography for these pieces. What I did was try to find them, and I didn't want to do that one either. What I did was try to find them somewhere else so that I would not use images that you might want to use that were linked directly. This is a Rothko, and possibly I can make it a little smaller than it is so you can get the whole picture in there. Let me go down to 80% here. Let's see. Yeah, I think I can do that now. This is a Rothko, and I found this at the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. And if I were to start that part on describing it, first thing I'd do if I weren't real sure of what I was doing was I'd go back to week 2. Let's see, I don't know if you remember that, but up here under week 2, assignment 1, I give you a list on the link right over, if it'll come up, right over, if I can get it. Let's see, participation guidelines. Are we in assignment 1, 2? Oh, it's down at the bottom here, sorry. Right here, this link. Click on that, and when you do that, this list comes up. Now the list that I'm going to put right here is what I would use just to go back over what it was I was looking for if I wasn't clear. Color. Remember, I'm telling you about the properties of color. Hue is the name of the color, saturation, value. Keep this right with you. So if I'm going to talk about color in this Rothko, and there's very little else to really talk about, I'm going to have to remember to mention these 3 properties. If I just say it's blue, that doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell me if it's dark or light or bright or dull, Got to have all those. So blue is the hue, and I would say in this that it's composed of shapes, rectangle shapes or rectilinear shapes, and the colors are primarily a bright, intense blue, a light, rich, I guess maybe it's not a light yellow, I guess I would say it's a medium valued bright yellow, and white. And I would then go about talking maybe about the size, how one's this size. They're stacked. There's a little band of white on the top, and then a blue rectangle, and then a little band of gray maybe, and then that bright yellow rectangle, and then a white rectangle underneath that. And then you could talk about the shape some, how the edges are soft, maybe. Going back to my elements, I would say they're somewhat geometric, although the edges make them look a little organic, like they just sort of came there by themselves or by nature. And actually, if you refer to this, down here you see some drips, which really are organic shapes. So there you might say there's a combination of geometric shapes with soft edges and some organic drips. Overall value here, I guess, would be kind of medium value. It's not real dark, it's not real light. Remember, value is dark and light. Might want to talk about contrast. Is there much of a contrast there? Well, yeah, there is. There really is. Bright white in some places. Makes it a little dramatic. That's what we've got written down here. Contrast, when there's high contrast, that equals drama. Space. There's really no space indicated here, so I would say that. I would say it's a very flat painting. You're just one dimension almost, or 2 dimensions certainly. And the texture, remember you have to say if it's actual or visual. Now if it would be helpful when you describe, just write down color, and then start describing, if that would work for you. Okay? So after the description then, you're supposed to talk about your feelings about this piece. Well, I happen to like Rothko very much. I'm a color painter myself, so I respond to these things, but I don't know how you're going to respond. So I'm not going to put words in your mouth on that. But you tell what your personal response is. Sometimes you hear Rothko was really depressed. I can tell because It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why you think that. But it would be nice to tell us a little bit, well, I think he was depressed because the colors are gloomy, or I think the bright yellow makes it a happy painting, or whatever you think. It doesn't really matter. No one's going to, I mean, this isn't going to be in the New York Times, for heaven's sakes. It's just a way of you getting to some kind of understanding with your interpretation of the work and your impression. Now, there's another piece that I chose because you're supposed to choose two that are contrasting, right? Two contrasting styles here. And this one is, I think that's right. I'm going to go back and check. I get a little confused, I think. But I think it said contrasting styles. Purpose, let's see, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. One of the artworks. Okay, one of the artworks. All right, so, oh no, we're in the wrong one here. See why I'm confused? All right, let me go back to the one which is right here. And I think it says select an artwork. It's one artwork, so you don't need two, which is yay. That already takes half of your work away as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I did pull this one up because I was getting ready to do a video where you were asked to take two contrasting styles, and I thought, wow, this is really contrasting. But anyway, and then I got off on, well, let's take a week that they're really getting into. So this one is a Vermeer painting, and just for fun, using those elements again. Look at the color. The colors are muted. They're not intense or bright. There's a tan map on the wall. No bright, intense colors, just mostly different shades or hues of tan, and then a dark kind of looks like a table and some kind of a drapery over it in the foreground, and then it looks like part of a chair and part of a chair. Again, muted blues for the chair parts. The only bright color here, I think, is her jacket, that blue kind of satiny jacket. Now this has certainly got a lot of visual texture, and by that I mean I can't run my hands over it and really feel anything other than paint. It's going to be real slick, but it looks like that should feel like satin, doesn't it? And to a degree, it looks like the wall ought to be a little bit rough. Well, Vermeer happens to be another one of my favorite painters, so I could talk forever about this particular piece, but it would be a good one to research, and I'm not going to spoil that for you, so if you want to, go ahead. Anyway, just trying to help you guys figure out where to go on this one, and hopefully I did. Let me know.